welcome to the Thank You for Knitting YouTube channel. My name is Alana. I am a yarn shop owner and a knitwear designer living in Auckland, New Zealand. I am inside of the shop today. I got here early enough that I am in the front of the shop where it's a little bit prettier, and we'll see how much time I have here before we have to open up. But this is episode number 6 of the sort of regular podcast, and so I'm here to give some updates on my projects, talk a little bit about how I'm going with frog or finish, and some of the last minute gift knits I've decided to do. And so yeah, we'll just go for it. Okay, I should talk about what I'm wearing. I'll talk about this more when I do my summer knits video, which I am still planning to do. But this is a knitted t-shirt that I made using a cotton linen silk blend that we used to carry, we don't carry anymore. And this pattern is, this pattern is called Julienne T Solo by Lene, and it's a DK or worsted weight pattern on a 4mm needle. And the original version has stripes as well, which I think I did the same sort of interval of stripes. I added a contrasting cuff and neck, just because I wanted to put this kind of green color in there. And this green color is actually the Erica Knight Studio linen. So it's a different yarn than the other yarns. And yeah, I made this back in June, July of this year. So I haven't really had a chance to wear it. Well, I made it in the winter and I hadn't really had a chance to wear it until recently. So I actually haven't woven in the ends yet, and I technically haven't finished it. I just wanted to wear it today because I thought it matched my overalls. So that's what I'm wearing, and yeah, let's talk about projects. Okay, so I actually have 5 finished objects today, which is pretty exciting. A couple of them, 3 of them are from my frog or finish, 2 of them are new. Let's see, where do I start? Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is possibly the cutest thing that I've ever made. And this was both started and finished between now and the last episode. But basically this is another item of Christmas decor that I have made, and it is so cute. So the pattern is called Santa's Laundry Line by Eleonore von Castelmur. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is really cute. The original pattern, I'll insert a photo, the original pattern has 8 items of clothing, so obviously this is like Santa's outfit, but it's being hung up on the laundry line with these little clips. And in her original pattern, there's 8 different items of clothing. I didn't have a ton of time, and I also had all these other projects I was doing, so I decided to just do 5 of the items the 5 that I liked the most and that I thought kind of made sense still as a relatively complete outfit. So yeah, you will have seen the photo and how cute it is, and ours is currently hanging up in the shop window, so I'm gonna go grab it and show you. Okay, so this is Santa's Laundry Line. We have Santa's boots, his little overalls, but he's a New Zealand Santa, so these are like overall shorts because Christmas is in summer here. His jacket, his little scarf, and his little hat. Aren't they just the cutest? And then you clip them up with little clothespins, and they're currently hanging in the window. It's almost impossible to get a photo of them in the window because of the glare and the lighting, but I might insert a photo that we tried to take as well in case it's hard to see when I'm showing you like this. But yeah, these are just so cute. So I started this project on December 2nd and I finished on December 10th. And I used a variety of miscellaneous yarns I had left over. I think the red is Malabrigo 4-ply. It's all 4-ply. The cream or beige is leftover brushtail possum merino, which gives it a little fuzziness, which is nice. And then the green, I think, is a yarn floozy that I had lying around. The charcoal is a alpaca sock yarn, but just miscellaneous scrap yarns. And I had so much fun making it because it's just so cute. So I won't go into great detail. I did leave a few notes in my Ravelry project page, but basically, as I said, this is a free pattern download, and I took the stitch counts and a lot of what was in the pattern. Some of the items I more or less did to pattern, but I also modified most of them. So the boots, I switched from having the heel flap and gusset to doing short rows. That's what I like to do, and that's easy. The scarf, instead of knitting back and forth, I just cast on long ways and knit a few rows. That seemed easier. I think the jacket I more or less knit to pattern, and the pants, except I made them shorter. And the hat I think is knit to pattern as well. So I guess I didn't differ too much from the pattern. But I had so much fun knitting it, and I think it's so cute. So I highly recommend. Again, I don't know that the pattern is, maybe it doesn't overly explain things if you're an absolute beginner, but I think if you've done some knitting before, you know what the pattern is talking about, and yeah, it's definitely worth the download, and I think makes a really cute Christmas decoration. Okay, the next two finished items are both of the pairs of socks that were in my Frogger finish, and these I have mentioned before because I started them a while ago. September, apparently, I started the blue pair, and also September I started the brown and red pair. So I had finished one sock each, and I just had one sock to go for Frogger finish, so I have now made the second sock for each pair. So this is the blue pair. I should probably put these on a sock blocker. One second. Okay, so this is the blue pair. This was in Opal yarn. I haven't woven in the ends yet either, but this is the first pair. So this, I've mentioned before, this is my own vanilla recipe, which I haven't yet, it's not quite ready yet to publish, sorry. I am working to try to make it really good, and because the gauge I'm using for my socks is maybe a little different than the standard sock, you use fewer stitches in my version than you do for a lot of sock knitting, and I think it's a great fit, but it's a little bit different, so it just means that I'm working to make the sizing good, and also to be able to communicate that to people. So all that to say is that the pattern's not out yet, but essentially this is my vanilla sock recipe that I do a lot. This is the size medium version, Opal sock yarn. So it's just the same ball of yarn the whole way, and it's just creating the pattern as you go. And yeah, nothing much to say. 2x2 rib on the leg, which I like because it sort of hugs the leg. Stockinette on the foot because it's nice and smooth. And these are a gift for my friend, but I'm not actually going to be seeing her as soon as I thought I would, so there's no real rush to weave in the ends or anything, but I wanted to finish because of my Frogger finish. So that's the first pair done, size medium in my future pattern. And I also finished the pair that is going to be for my other friend. They look very huge, but he has bigger feet. So this is the size large of the pattern. Just put that on the blocker too. It's kind of too big for the blocker, so it's going to be a bit scrunched up, but that's this one. And so again, you've seen this before. This is the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, signature 4-ply. The color is Robin, and then we have Prosper yarn, their sock base in Dark Horse, which is this beautiful brown. Put a little bit on the cuff, toes and heels. There's the second sock, so you can see I've done them both. They look a bit funny when they're not on a blocker because the ribbing on the leg, but yeah, that pair is for my friend. What else to say? Short row heel. There's shaping before and after the heel to give a better fit. Yeah, my go-to 2x2 ribbed leg, stockinette foot. Very long. And yeah, that's another pair done. So I have successfully completed 12 pairs of socks for the year. I had that as my goal, which was a sock a month, a pair of socks per month, I mean. And I didn't stick to it in the sense of actually knitting a pair each month, but because I knit a bunch of them in October, I wasn't paying much attention to this goal, but I've just counted up how many pairs I made, and it happens to be 12, so I'm feeling very good about that. So I've done 12 pairs for the year, and that's 2 items off my Frogger finish list. Oh, I wanted to briefly mention as well, just it's a callback to my very first episode when I had my 17 whips and I was showing them all. That was technically before my, official Frogger finish had started, but there are 2 items from that first video that I have frogged since then. And so I thought I would mention them just so that it, I don't know, tying up loose ends so it doesn't feel like they've disappeared off the map. They have disappeared, I've frogged them. So they're part of Frogger finish in the sense that I frogged them, but I did it back in November. So that was the 2 shawls that I was working on. One of them was in the Yarn Floozy Homegrown, and it was that beautiful waffle texture. I'll insert a photo from before just so you can remember. And I hadn't made a huge amount of progress on it. I really, really like the texture stitch, but I actually think, well, first of all, I don't think she's going to be doing that yarn base anymore. So I would like to redo that shawl in a different yarn, and I actually think that that squishy texture would possibly look better in DK weight instead of 4-ply. So I'm going to experiment with different yarns to use for it, but I do plan to revisit that design. But for now, I've ripped it out. It's gone. And the other one that I frogged in November was my spin cycle shawl that I was working on in brioche. I also want to revisit that design. I had barely knit anything, so there wasn't much to frog, but I also think I might change a couple things about that design. So for now, I just decided rip it out, clean the slate, and if I want to return to it later, I always can. And I hope I do, because I still like the idea that's in my head. So that's those things. And my next finished item from my Frogger finish is a big one, and I'm excited about it. Now, I haven't blocked it yet. It still has stitch markers in it. I haven't woven in the ends, anything like that. But I wanted to show you anyway because today was a good day for me to film, so here we are. And I will hopefully maybe also be able to insert some photos from after I block it and maybe I'm wearing it and you can get a better look, but I'll show you it as it is for now. So guys, this is a big deal. This is my first ever handspun sweater, and it is finished. So I guess quick reminder of this yarn. This is the first time I've ever spun enough of the same yarn to make a sweater, and I used a combination of 2 fibers. The first one was the Haunui, which is a really special New Zealand breed, and that was an undyed sheep color in the color Spice, which is like a medium-ish brown. And the other yarn was some fiber I got from my friend Bonnie, who is Union Fibre, and we weren't really sure. I had gotten it a long time ago and it was just all bundled up and I didn't have the labels. I was talking to Bonnie and we think it's Finn sheep maybe, but it was basically just hand dyed by her in all these beautiful purple and gold colors. And then what I did was I spun the Bonnie fiber, I spun the Haunui fiber separately and then plied them together. And so I got this beautiful kind of marled look with the brown mixing with all the purples and golds and stuff. Yeah, I had 400 grams of the Haunui originally, 214 grams of the Union Fibre, spun them together. I'm not really good at calculating meterage for handspun, but I sort of roughly calculated that, well, it was 473 grams total of yarn, and I calculated that to be about 830 meters. So I thought that should be enough for a sweater. However, I did start running out of yarn towards the end, and I got a bit nervous, so I ended up doing the cuffs on my sleeves and the cuff at the bottom hem in a different yarn that I had spun. And this was another one from Bonnie in a purple sort of color. It was a bit darker of a purple, and it had none of the Haunui in it, but it still had some of the gold tones and stuff. That was also spun at about a DK weight, and I calculated it to be 104 grams, about 230 meters. I didn't use all of that yarn. I used just a little bit for the cuffs. I'll update with the amount that I used or the total weight and meterage that I used. I think part of why I ran out of yarn is because I did this kind of double folded ribbed neckline, so that ate up a lot of yarn, but in the end, with the contrasting cuffs, it ended up with a really good size and fit, I think. And I think it still works with the different yarn, and it's still all my hand spun, so I'm happy about that. A few more things about this project. I started on August 11th of this year, completed December 14th of this year. I used a 4mm, 3.75, and 3.5mm needle, so the bulk of it was on a 4mm needle. That was sort of the main gauge that I liked. And yeah, I made up the pattern as I went, and I didn't take a lot of notes because I wanted it to just be a one-of-a-kind sweater because it's hand spun, and I thought it'd be fun if it was also a one-off. So let me show you. Again, it's not in its final form yet, but that's all right. So here it is. It's a little hard to show the whole thing. There's the sleeves. It has this kind of detail in the neckline where I've just done some knits and purls to create these sort of lines across the yoke. Yeah, I cast on the neck originally here, knit the 1x1 rib. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure if you can see. Knit the 1x1 rib for, I guess, probably like 3 inches, 4 inches. Then folded it over and joined it so you have a double neck. Then I just did increases throughout the yoke, and I added these little textured details. Then we have the sleeves. This is the contrasting purple cuff. Then we have the rest of the body and the purple, dark purple at the bottom as well. So I just love how with the hand spun, you have all these sort of nuances in the color, and it's sort of striping at different points, and it looks a bit like Noro yarn. And so if you're familiar with Noro yarn, I think the right way to say it is that Noro yarn looks a bit like hand spun yarn. But if you spin, you can spin yarn like that yourself, which is quite cool. There's a bit of short row shaping in the back of the neck, and yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I think the fit is really good. I will try to insert photos. You know, I want you to be able to see it in all its glory once I block it and put it on. The yarn is so soft and squishy and woolly. I really, really love it. I've still got all my stitch markers in, marking my decreases. This is how I do decreases, by the way. Side note, in case this is interesting to anyone. I will mark every decrease row with stitch markers, and then even if I just have no notes and I chuck this to one side and then I pick it back up later, I can replicate the second sleeve the same way because I just count the rows between markers and then I know what to do. So I find that an easy way to keep track of things. I use a lot of stitch markers to keep track of things in lieu of having to write them down. It's like I'm communicating to my future self in stitch markers. So anyway, that's that. Yeah, and I kind of like the dark purple color in the bottom hem. So I'm really excited. My first ever hand spun sweater. Yeah, I can't wait to block it and, you know, weave in the ends and see it in its final form. I think it's going to be really, really nice. Obviously, we're in the middle of summer right now, so it is not at all the season for it, but I'll have a nice jumper waiting for me when the cold weather arrives. So, yay! Really, really happy with this one. Okay, the final finished object is also one that I started, like I said, a week ago. This was very fast to make. I technically cast it on December 11th, but I cast on the bottom, let it sit for a few days, and then when I picked it back up, I actually knit, I would say 90% of this within 24 hours. So it's almost a one-day project. So this, as I would have mentioned in my gift knitting video, we made some last minute plans to go see some family, and so I thought, okay, I would like to be able to knit a few gifts since we're going anyway. And so this is for my brother, and it's a hot water bottle cover. So here it is. Yay! I used miscellaneous. I had some bulky weight yarns at home, various different bulky weight yarns. I really liked this color palette, and basically I used a 5.5 millimeter needle. I did a Turkish cast on the bottom. So a Turkish cast on is what I always use for the toe of a sock. It creates a really smooth, if you're not familiar with it, you're basically casting on stitches that go in two directions. So you end up with this really smooth bottom. It looks like the knitting just curves right over the edge seamlessly. Then I just did a couple of increases at the sides here. So I ended up with 28 stitches per side, so 56 stitches total. That was the size that worked for me with the bulky weight yarn, a 5.5 millimeter needle, and this water bottle cover. I knit for a little while. I actually put good notes in my Ravelry project page, so if you want to, replicate this, you absolutely can. Just check my project page. I didn't actually use a pattern, even though I had those 5 patterns picked out for my video. I just made this one up. And I wrote this colorwork chart using Stitch Fiddle. If you don't know Stitch Fiddle, I highly recommend. It's a free thing. You can sign up for free on the website stitchfiddle.com, I think. I'll put a link to it. And you can draw, it's just set up for knitting specifically, so you can draw colorwork charts or lace charts, cables, whatever. And I just drew this chart according to the colors I had. Did the chart, then I did a bunch of decreases up here until I had, I think, 18 stitches on either side, so 36 stitches total. And then I did 2x2 rib for, I think, 35 rounds. And then I did half of a Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. So what I mean by that is I did the surprisingly stretchy technique to every other stitch. I don't want it to get too flared out, but I still want it to be stretchy so you can fit the hot water bottle in. And the rib, tightens up around the top of the hot water bottle, but it still stretches out so you can get the hot water bottle in and out. So yeah, basically this is a 1 or 2 day knit. Super fun. I think it looks really cute. And yeah, that's a gift for my brother, so I'll be bringing that to him next week. Yay! Started and finished. I haven't blocked it yet either. I think I will block it. It's already looking nice, but I think I will block it just to settle in the stitches even more, and then I think I will buy him a hot water bottle to go with it as well. I think he probably has one, but in case he doesn't, I think I'll buy him one, give him this, and yeah, I think it's a pretty cute gift. So yay, that is my last finished object. So quick status report. I am sitting on 6 whips left for the year. And like I said, I'm already mentally preparing for the fact that at least 3 of those whips are going to carry into January. I'm okay with kind of letting my Frogger finish go into January a little bit at this point. And 2 or 3, though, I still think I will finish before the end of the year, hopefully. So again, I'm feeling very good about this year, finishing with a lot less whips. I guess I'll briefly just show you the main whip I have been working on. And then I have one other little cast on that I'll show you. And that is it. So the main whip I've been working on lately is my Alpine Bloom sweater that I've showed before. This is in the Luxurious Fusion, which is mostly linen and silk, a little bit of alpaca and merino in there. So it is a summery type yarn. And then I've got this beautiful hand spun yarn from my friend Bonnie. So this is the progress that I have made. And I finished both sleeves. And I'm just partway down the body. So, I'm probably more than halfway down the body. So I am very close, just in the plain stockinette portion. So this is my easy knitting currently. I'll show you a little better the colors. But this is my easy knitting. I have no doubt I'll finish this one before the end of the year. and I'm really excited to wear it actually. I'll briefly mention that I did a modification on the sleeves. So if you're familiar at all with this pattern, Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter, I should have said that. The top of the neck, you start from the top and then do this lace panel. And then for the sleeves, she wants you to stop here and then cast on the sleeve from the bottom up and then graft it on. And I just could not be bothered to do that. So I just basically kept knitting but followed her chart backwards, a few less repeats because I didn't want it quite as long, and then bound off. And I think it looks perfectly great. So if you want to do this pattern and you don't want to have to graft your sleeve on, I think you can absolutely just reverse the chart and knit it from the top down. I haven't blocked it yet. You'll be able to see better when I block it, but so far I think it looks brilliant. I've matched the number of lace repeats on the sleeve to the number of repeats that we have on the neck so that it's the same amount. In the original, it's much longer, but I didn't want that. So yeah, that's it. I modified the sleeve. I wanted to finish the sleeves first so that I could just have easy knitting until it's done. And yeah, I'll definitely be finishing that before the end of the year. I hope to also make progress and possibly finish that Samsøe fluffy golden jumper that I'm knitting on. And the other one I would like to pick up before the end of the year, although now I have a week until we're leaving, is that red Prosper Yarn vest. I mean, I will deal with it in January if I don't deal with it now, but I would like to try to tackle that now. That's the one with the biggest mental block because I have to just remember what I was doing when I was first knitting it. And anyway, that's my main whip currently. And then one other thing that I cast on last night is from my list of Christmas ideas, which is the Nice to Know You by Sarah Shira. I've knit this one before. I'll insert a photo. And I'm knitting another one for my dad. So not too much to see. This is the beginning of the hat. And I'm planning to use this color for the hat, this kind of orangey rust color, this green for the body. This will be for the face. And this white and this fluff will be for the beard. So that's my plan. I'm hoping this is a quick knit as well, a couple of days. And then I'll have another gift ready. And there's a couple other gifts I'm hoping to do. One of them I'm going to work on while I'm traveling is my plan. So I am planning to make a pair of fingerless gloves. By the way, if anyone from my family is watching this, don't look. I have this beautiful hand-spun merino silk, and I am going to make this into a pair of fingerless gloves for someone. And this fiber is from Fibre to Go, which is a New Zealand indie dyer, and she dyed this fiber, and I spun this years ago. This is one of my first hand-spun yarns. It's a little uneven, but I actually think the texture might look really cool in the little mitts. So that's another gift plan of mine. Okay, otherwise that's it. That's all my finished objects. That's what I'm working on. Those are my plans. We're very close to Christmas now, so this is probably my last podcast episode of the year. I'm still planning to do a summer knitting inspiration type video. I'll see if I have time to film it before we leave, and then maybe I can edit it while we're traveling. Either that or film it when I get back, but I think either way it will probably not be put out into the world until early January. And then I'll also, come back for another episode in January, of course. And I'll give you updates then on the gifts I ended up being able to finish and, how the Frogger finish is going. We're still going strong here with the Nibbles knit along. A bunch of our customers have knit really cute bunnies. Maybe I'll insert a couple photos if I can find them. And that's all from me today, but I hope you're well. I hope you have a really lovely holiday season wherever you are, and I will see you again in the new year. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the lovely comments that you guys are leaving. I don't always respond super quickly because I'm not a person who has notifications on or anything, but I check them, from time to time, and then I try to respond, and I always really appreciate them when I read the comments. I mean, you guys are just so lovely and nice, and yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you for, if you've subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm excited. I've got a lot of video plans for next year. And yeah, I will see you then. Bye.